Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Raymon. Thank you so much for joining in today. From my last video we did get 100 subscribers, so thank you so much for that. And let's continue our journey to 500 subscribers. So thank you for liking, sharing and subscribing. In this episode today I want to talk about Site2Site VPN. So what I did in preparation for that is I reinstalled the XCP-ng. I did made an ISO library and a local storage repository from 1 terabyte. So what I'm gonna do today is we're gonna install Windows 10, we're gonna install Windows 2019 Server, and we're gonna install Pfsense. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna open XCP-ng Center so I can show you what I did. Wait for that to load. By the way, I'm using a new mic, so it could be that you hear some background noises. So I will do my best to remove them, but I'm not sure how that's gonna work with this microphone. So I'm gonna log in with my master password. I'm connecting, synchronizing. As you can see, I did make a local storage repository from 1 terabyte. That's the 4 hard disks I showed you in the last video. And I did made an ISO library. As you can see, it's still empty. So what I did is, I'm going to minimize this. So what I did is I downloaded Windows 10, Windows 2019 from the Microsoft website. If you don't know how to find it, I will leave a link in the description. So I'm going to my downloads folder. And as you can see, I renamed them to Windows Server 2019. I have also got the Windows Server 2016 and a Windows 10 and the Pfsense, the latest release 2.4.5. Okay, so how are we gonna transfer those ISO images to our server? I'm using a program called Winscp. I will leave a link in the download description. So I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna fill in my host name of my XCP-ng server. That's 168.1.245. I'm gonna log in with root and our password. And I'm gonna press login. You can also save it like I did over here. I press login. As you can see, I'm currently in my root folder, so I'm gonna go one folder up. I'm going to var, then I'm going to opt, because that's where I made my ISO library. If you don't know how to do this, go back and watch this previous episode where I'm explaining you how to add this ISO library. So I'm gonna click on ISO. I'm gonna click on Windows. Let's do Pfsense first. So this will take some time. I will speed this up so you don't have to wait that long. I'm gonna do this for Windows Server 2019 and I'm gonna do this for Windows 10. Okay, now that we uploaded our ISOs, let's close out Windows SCP. Let's go back to our XCP-ng Center. As you can see, the virtual disk is still empty. All we need to do is rescan. Do not forget this, because otherwise the ISO will not appear when you make a new VM. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna click on New VM. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll all the way to the bottom to Other Install Media. That's because sometimes I have an issue with the XCP-ng templates that you see above here. I do not know, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So that's why I'm always choosing for Other Install Media. So I'm gonna click on Next. I'm gonna give this a name of Workstation 1. You can rename this anything you want, but for the purpose of this video I'm gonna call it Workstation 1, Server 1 and Firewall 1. So I'm gonna click on Next. Install from the ISO library or DVD drive. I'm going to press on Windows 10 ISO. I'm going to click on Next. Place the VM on this server. Next. I'm going to give this a number of virtual CPU of 4. I'm going to do 2 sockets with 2 cores per sockets. I'm going to give this a RAM of 4 GB. That should be enough. I'm going to click on Next. Next. I'm going to add a hard disk. Also, I'm going to call this hard disk workstation 1. So I can always find which hard disk is connected to which VM. I'm going to place this on my 1 TB storage. Click on Add. I'm going to click on Next. I'm going to delete all the LAN networks. I'm going to give it a public LAN. And I'm going to give it a private LAN. And that I'm going to show you later. So I'm going to put this on LAN 1. If you don't know what this is, in the previous episodes, I think it was episode 3, I did explain how to create the LAN, the name of the LAN, so you can always see which LAN you have to add and which one is connected to which one. So I'm going to press on Next, Create Now. So as you can see, it's moving on the bottom here, so when this is done, it will appear over here. So let's wait for that. As you can see, workstation 1. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go to console. Let's wait for that to load. Maybe make it a little bit bigger, scale. Okay, I'm just going to press Next. Install now. Okay, let's skip the I don't have a product key. I'm going to just install Windows 10 Pro. Click on Next. I accept the license terms. Click on Next. I'm going to custom install. Click on New. Apply. Press OK. Click on Next. And wait for the copying Windows files. It's gonna take some time, so I'm gonna fast forward this, and I will see you when we're gonna continue with the setup. Okay, let's continue with the region. I live in Indonesia, so I'm gonna look for Indonesia. A bit faster. Here we go. Oh. Indonesia. Yes. Yes, our keyboard layout is also US. Yes. I would like to skip. Okay, we're gonna set it up for an organization because I'm gonna make a domain controller with our Windows 2019 server. So I'm gonna set it up for an organization. Let's click on next. Domain join instead. Who's gonna use this PC? So I'm just gonna call this one user 1. I'm gonna skip the password. Okay, I'm gonna turn everything off. Online speech recognition, location, diagnostic data, find my device. A little bit to the bottom. Inking and typing, advertising ID, and tailored experience. I'm gonna, yes, accept. Just a moment. Okay, and wait until it set up everything. Okay, now we have installed Windows 10. I'll click this on maybe later. So let's make another one. Let's continue installing Windows 2019 server. So I'm going to click on new VM again. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. Other install media. Click on next. I'm going to call this one server 1. Click on next. I'm going to select the 2019 ISO. Click on next. Yes. I'm going to give this one a total of 8 processors and 4 with 2. I'm going to give this one 8192. That's around 8 gigabytes. I'm going to click on next. Next again. I'm going to give this a storage of 100 gigabytes. I'm going to rename the name to server 1. The reason why I'm going to give it 100 gigabytes is because in a future episode I'm going to do more with this Windows 2019 server. I'm going to place this one also on my 1 terabyte storage. Click on add. Next. Delete all the LAN again. I'm going to add the internet LAN. And I'm going to add LAN 1. Click on add. Next. Create now. As you can see, it's loading. Wait for it to appear on this side. Click on it. Click on console. Okay, just click on next. Install now. Okay, I'm gonna go for the standard evaluation with the desktop experience. Click on next. I'm gonna accept the license term. Click on next. Custom, install Windows only. Click on new. Apply. Click on OK. And I'm gonna click on next. Also this I'm gonna fast forward until we get to the next setup. So I see you when it's done. Okay, let's continue with our passwords. Click on finish. Okay. I'm gonna click on send Control Alt Delete. Here we go. I'm gonna log in with our password. And as you can see, we just installed Windows 2019 Server. So the next thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna install XenTools. I'm gonna install Chrome. And I'm gonna update the machine. So I'm gonna minimize this. Okay, so let's click on Windows 10. Take some time. Let's go to console. Let's open our web browser. Yeah, confirm. Here we go. Let's install Winrar and let's download the XenTools. So let's do Winrar first. Here we go. Click on downloads. Click on the 64-bit edition. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna download is Google Chrome. Close this translation. I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom because I want to use the English version. As you can see right here, I'm gonna click on English, wait for the site to reload. I'm gonna download Chrome. Open file. Click on yes. Let's close our Microsoft Edge browser. Okay, our Chrome is installed. Let's open our downloads folder and install our Winrar. Let's go to downloads. Let's click on the Winrar. Click on yes. Click on install. Click on OK. And done. We can close this file. And we can close our downloads folder. And now I'm gonna go download our Zen tools. Okay, let's copy this link inside. I will leave it in the description as well. Make it a little bit bigger. Go all the way to the bottom. As you can see, you can use the ISO image or the zip. I'm choosing the zip. Okay, click on it. Let's minimize this. This one we can press OK. Make it a little bit longer. So I'm going to install the 64-bit. Click on next. Accept the license agreement. Click on next. I'm just going to leave this as default. Install the IO drivers now. Next. And install. Click on yes. And click on finish. The XCP-ng 8.2 storage host adapter needs to restart the system. To complete the installation, press yes to restart the system now. Yes, I'm going to restart the system now. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the Windows 2019. And as you can see, Windows Management Agent installed successfully. Press on OK. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install Pfsense. Okay, let's click on New VM. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Other install media. I'm going to call this one Firewall 1. Click on Next. I'm going to select the Pfsense 2.4.5. Click on Next. Next. I'm going to give it 2 virtual CPUs with 1 socket per 2 cores. I'm going to give this one 1 gigabyte. Should be enough for my purpose. Next. Next. I'm going to add a hard disk of 15 gigabytes. Rename this as well. Firewall 1. Also, I'm going to put this on my 1 terabyte storage. Add. Click on Next. I'm going to delete all this. I'm going to add our WAN address, the bond. Add. And I'm going to, not edit. I'm going to add our LAN 1. Press on Add. Next. And create now. As you can see, it's processing it. Let's wait for it to load on this side. Here we go. We're going to click on it. We're going to go to console. I didn't press anything. I just let the installer run on itself. Okay, we're going to accept. We're going to install Pfsense. I'm going to continue with the default key map. I'm going to auto guide this setup. I'm going to press enter. Okay, the installation is now finished. Before exiting the installer, would you like to open a shell on the new system, make any final manual modifications? For this, I'm going to press no. And I'm going to reboot. Okay, should VLANs be set up now? I am not using VLANs at the moment, so I'm going to press no. Enter the one interface name or A for auto detection. So I can already see up here that XN0 is changed to up and XN01 link state changed to down. So I know that the one that is connected is XNO. So that was my one connection. So I'm going to press XN0 for the one. And for the LAN, I'm going to choose XN1. We wish to proceed? Yes. Okay, before we're gonna continue installing Pfsense, I did make a few changes. I enabled on the server and on the workstation the remote desktop, because for some reason the XCP-ng center is very slow, and I changed the network thing from bond 0+1 into, I renamed it into 1, as you can see in here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna open my remote desktop. Remote desktop. I'm going to connect to my workstation. Log in with our password. As you can see, this is not slow. Let's open our network center. And let's see if we did get an IP address from our Pfsense. Gonna click on Ethernet, change adapter option. As you can see, this is the one connection. This one gets an IP address from my modem, 192.168.1.12. And let's see what IP address we get from our Pfsense. 10.8 or 10.0.8.11. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close all of this. I'm gonna open my Google Chrome. Bring it to the middle, make it bigger. I'm gonna browse to the IP address from the Pfsense. .1. Your connection is not private. Click on advanced. Proceed to 10.0.8. Log in with the default username is going to be admin and the password is going to be Pfsense. Enter. Welcome to Pfsense software. I'm going to click on next. Global support is available 24/7. Next. Go with the host name of firewall 1. Domain is going to be local. Primary DNS server is going to be the one from Google. If you have your own preference, you can fill it in here. Click on next. The time zone, because I'm in Asia, let's go a little bit up. Jerusalem, Jakarta, here it is. Click on next. Because we already configured our one address with a static IP, so we don't need to change anything in here. So we're going to go all the way to the bottom. Click on next. Our LAN IP also we did configure as static. We don't need to change this. Next. We're going to give a new admin password. Click on next. Click on reload. Congratulations, Pfsense is now configured. Click on finish. Okay, we just need to click accept. As you can see, it did install. Because we enabled our DHCP server on our local area network, we need to go to services. Click on DHCP server. Go a little bit to the bottom where it says DNS server. And we're gonna fill in our DNS. And I'm gonna use the one from my modem as well. Then scroll all the way to the bottom. And we're gonna click on save. Changes have been applied. For most people this will now work because I need to do one more step. I'm gonna go to advanced. I'm gonna go on networking. Go a little bit to the bottom and I'm gonna disable hardware checksum offload. So if you did the steps and you still don't have internet, please enable this one. Click on save. Changes have been applied successfully. Go to the front again and let's see if we did get an IP, if our DNS did apply. So I'm going back to network and internet settings. I'm going to click on Ethernet. I'm going to click on change adapter options. Click on status. As you can see, we did not get the DNS server, so I'm going to close this. And let's see if I disable it. Okay, let's enable it. Let's go back to status, details, and as you can see it did give us our DNS server. So I'm going to close this, and close this. So now that we installed Pfsense, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to promote the Windows 2019 to a domain controller. So I'm going to go minimize this. I'm going to go back to server. Okay, let's click on networking. And let's remove our one connection. Okay, as you can see, the IP address is 10.0.8.12. So I'm going to minimize this again. Going back to our workstation. Okay, let's open our remote desktop. Let's go to the IP 10.8.12. Log in with our username and our password. Accept the certificate. And here's our Windows server. You can close this. We're going to go to local server. We're going to change our computer name. So we're going to go to change. I'm going to call this one server 1. Just for this purposes of this video. If you want to use another name, you can use another name. I'm just going to use it the same name as in the XCP-ng center. So I'm going to press OK. You must restart the computer to apply these changes. Press OK. Close. Would you like to restart now? Yes. So the remote desktop service has ended. That's okay. I'm going to minimize this. Going back to console. And as you can see, we're back on. So going back to our remote desktop connection. Okay, we're going to press connect again. Okay, wait for it to load. Okay, close this. Go back to local server. And as you can see, it did change the name into server 1. So I'm going to click back on dashboard. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a static IP. Go back to our network center. Click on Ethernet. Change adapter options. Right mouse click properties. I'm going to disable the IP4 phase 6. Click on IP4 10.0.8.254 255.255.255.0, and the default gateway is 10.0.8.1. I'm going to use the same DNS as our server. I'm going to add the one from Google. Click on OK. Click on OK. I think it's going to drop the connection. Yeah, here it is. That's this one. I'm going to close it. Okay, I'm going to open it again with the new IP 254. Log in with our administrator and our password. Yes. Okay, we can close this one and this one. We're going to go back to add roles and features. I'm going to click on next, next, and next. We're going to click on Active Directory domain servers. These are the requisites it needs to be installed in order to for the Active Directory domain service to work. So we're going to add those features. I'm going to click on next, next again, and we're going to press on install. This may take a while, so I'm going to fast forward it a little bit. Okay, the installation succeeded. We're going to promote this server to a domain controller. We're going to add it to a new forest. I'm going to use my own name. .org. Click on next. Okay, we're going to give it a new password. We'll click on next. Click on next. Should say SolutionMAX, the NetBIOS name. Yeah, click on next. Usually you put this on another hard disk, but since this is for testing purposes only, I can leave it on the same directory. So I'm going to press next. Press next again. And wait for the prerequisites to complete. Okay, all prerequisites checked passed successfully. I'm going to press install. This will take a while, so I'm going to fast forward this. It will reboot, and when it's done, we continue again. So I'm going to press install. Okay, so as you can see, it did start up again. Let's try to log in. There we go. As you can see, by default it is logging in into the domain controller. As you can see, SolutionMAX/administrator. So if we go back to our Windows 10 machine and we want to log in into this server, we need to make a change. The username must be SolutionMAX/administrator. So if you use another name for your domain controller, you need to put this in front, /administrator. So we're going to connect. It's going to ask us for our password, the one that we gave up in the installation. Press on OK. And as you can see, we're logging into our domain controller. So wait for that to load. You can close this. Go back to local server. As you can see, our work group is now changed to SolutionMAX.org. So I'm going to close out the server one. Yeah, don't display this message again. And now we're gonna add our Windows machine to the domain controller. Okay, now that we're back on our Windows machine, we're gonna add our IP address of our domain controller to our DNS. So we're gonna open Internet setting. I'm gonna click on Ethernet, change adapter option, go to Ethernet 4. In my case, this is the Ethernet from our Pfsense. I'm going to click on Internet Protocol, use the following DNS server address. Here's what I'm going to put the DNS of our domain controller. And I'm going to add the one of Google. I'm going to press OK. OK again. I'm going to disable it. Enable it. I'm going to close it. I'm going to close this. So what we need to do is we need to add our domain controller. We need to add this Windows machine to the domain controller. So I'm going to click on the folder. I'm going to click on this PC. I'm going to click under devices and drives. I'm going to click right mouse, properties. And as you can see, here's advanced system setting, computer name. The other one, I'm going to close this all. I'm going to click on start, setting, system, about. On the right side, you can see advanced system setting as well. Click on that, close this, put it a little bit in the middle. I'm going to go to computer name. To rename this computer or change this domain or work group, click change. I'm going to click on change. I'm going to call this one workstation 1. And it is a member of the domain. In my case, that's SolutionMAX.org. Okay, but before I'm going to press OK, because I'm using two Ethernet ports with two different IP, I need to close one. So I'm going to close the one from the modem. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to log in into my XCP-ng center. I'll log in. Yes. I'm going to close this. As you can see, it's the same. I'm going to open my internet setting. I'm going to Ethernet. Change our adapters option. I'm going to disable the internet connection to my modem. I'm going to disable. I'm going to disable the one from Pfsense as well. Then I'm going to enable it again. Enabled. I'm going to minimize this. Minimize the other one. And I'm going to press OK. Okay, as you can see, computer name or domain changes. Enter the name and password of an account with permission to join the domain. This is the administrator account, so I'm going to press administrator with our password. I'm going to press OK. Welcome to the SolutionMAX.org domain. I'm going to press OK. You must restart the computer to apply these changes. I'm going to press OK again. I'm going to close it. And I'm going to restart it now. So after we've done that, I'm going back to the server. Because we need to make a user account to log into our domain controller. And let's log in. Okay, we're going to click on Tools. We're going to click on Active Directory Users and Computers. I'm going to press that. As you can see, this is our organization. I'm going to open it. I'm going to click on users. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because there are so many default users. Here we go. I'm going to click right mouse. I'm going to add new user. First name, I'm going to call him Raymon. I'm going to use the login name also Raymon. I'm going to click next. I'm going to give it a password. Here you can choose if the user is logging in that he can instantly change his password. You can also say this user cannot change his password, the password never expires, or the account is disabled. So you can disable the account from here. You can make sure that the password never expired. You can also make sure that he cannot change his password, or you can say the next time you log in you have to change your password. So I'm going to click on next, click on finish, and as you can see, here's our user. I'm going back to our workstation. And here we go. I'm going to click. Okay, as you can see, we can log in as user 1. I don't want that. I want to log in into the organization. So I'm going to click other user. Sign into SolutionMAX. So we can click on this so you can see how we need to log in. If we want to use the local account, we can use workstation 1 / local username. I want to log into SolutionMAX, so I'm going to press SolutionMAX / Raymon. And I'm going to log in with the password I created. I'm going to press enter. Okay, so now that we are logged in, let's click on start. As you can see, we are logging in as Raymon. Let's go back to our folder. Click on this PC. Right mouse click, properties. And as you can see, we are successfully logged in into our domain name solutionmax.org. Okay, so that's gonna be it for this video. I think this is the longest video I ever made. I will see after I'm editing this video, I can see how long it takes. The episode before it was 44 minutes, so I think this one is gonna beat it by at least 15 minutes. This is gonna be 1 hour video. That's okay. The next episode is going to be how I connect this Pfsense with the Pfsense that I'm running on a server in Holland. I'm gonna show you how to connect them with IPsec or with OpenVPN. I'm gonna also show you how to connect your iPhone, Samsung, iPad, MacBook, Windows PC, you name it. I'm gonna show you how you can connect to it from all over the world. I'm gonna also show you, but I think that's gonna be a separate episode, how to do it with OpenVPN, because the possibilities with OpenVPN is much more. So I'm gonna show you that as well. Yeah, that's it for today's episode. Is there anything else I want to say? yeah, thank you so much for subscribing, liking, commenting on this video. I really like it. I enjoy reading your comments. I enjoy replying to your emails with questions. So if you would like to see something, leave a message in the comment section. As always, I will put all the links, all the codes I'm using in the bottom in the description of this video. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I will see you in the next video. Thank you.